Hail and well met, venturers. 'Tis I, Bard. You may call me they, them, or she, her. And today I am going to be telling you about the world of Ascenscia, a world most chaotic and maddening, where horrors lie in every single shadow, where the world cracks and quakes and heaves under the will of magic and gods, and where humanity is on the precipice of breaking, yet endures. I shall tell you today of the lore of the world, of humanity and the Spirit Indomitable, that sorcery, that spirit that keeps it together, and of how venturers go forth and conquer, preserving what life humanity has. So, without further ado, let us begin. For whence and before the aeon began, there was chaos. Throughout the ages, chaos has been said to be what was before, what is, and what shall be. Ascenscia was born from the infinite possibilities of reality, violently hewn and stitched together by arcane powers. Thousands of years ago, an event known as the Rifting tore reality asunder by lashes of magic, and the gods fell silent. The very fabric of the universe was cut by jagged blades before being sewn shut. In the aftermath, the unstable planet, torn apart by rifts, gashes into magical domains called realms, came into existence. Magic claws and screams like a flailing pain, or as cast by hungering gods to mutate and destroy. Beasts dwell in the encroaching wilds, gnawing at the periphery of settlements, and from within, apathy breaks down all that is kind and humane. And no mortal can say for certain why. Ever since the rifting, the world has grown ever more chaotic, maddening, and ruined with each passing year. But humanity yet endures. Ages have come and gone, carving 5 continents: Dacria, Meridia, Nuba, Occidentalis, and Polyglossia, into their modern forms from tectonic shifts, magical interferences, and other catastrophes. Ascenscia is an ancient planet, its history stretching back beyond the rifting into times of Mythicon, the age of most distant ancestors, and fraught with wonder and horror throughout. It and its ancestors existed long before any mortal was placed upon it. In the days before mortals were crafted by the immortals, the ancient elders fought with immortals and outer things for control of the nascent universe. And long since, the uncounted cultures have come and gone, leaving naught but ruins, artifacts, and lost lore in the earth. Dark and uncaring wildernesses loom ever presently on Ascenscia, threatening to swallow whole settlements both grand and humble. In the wilds and ruins between bastions of society, beasts dwell and gnaw at the edges of humanity's edifices to itself. So too do the immortals influence mortals in all aspects of life as pawns in their games of power, while ancient elders whisper the madness of chaos in their slumber. Around the world and throughout the ages, the horrors and wonders of the wilds and beyond have gnawed upon the entropy of humanity's dominion, waiting for revengers to rebuke, claim, and remember that which is lost, for that which is, and those yet to be. On humanity and the Spirit Indomitable, Ascenscia is a planet of horrors, existential and mundane. Each day is a fight for survival against the wilds, unbound magic, and eldritch entities, beasts, and other humans who turn to depravity for survival. Settlement and city alike are beset at all times by the threat of invasion or a creature conjured from the depths of horrific mythicon. Fear is the most common emotion an Ascensian feels, a heavy weight of anxiety and dread at the back of their skull dragging down their spine. Every human on the planet has witnessed kith and kin be mutated, oppressed, slain, or ravaged by human or beast, or die to the elements. There is no Ascensian without scars to body and mind. Yet despite the fear and trauma, humanity persists. It rages against the encroaching darkness and casts its spear at the slavering monster with a cry of defiance upon their tongue that echoes throughout time in the hinterland. Humanity, mortals, look to heaven and hells alike and swear their souls so that craven gods may prostrate their powers. Blood, sweat, and tears have carved away the grasping ramparts for mortals to burn a fire and share in one another. Only the most broken give in to the evils of mortal instinct. The Spirit Indomitable, the soul of humanity, is this persistence. The Spirit Indomitable is what has kept mortals from falling into despair and going extinct. It can be found in the most vengeful cry against the foe, its speaker bloody, and in the hushed whispers of a parent to a child. Most often, humanity expresses their strength through contact with others. The mere sight of another human is enough to make a mortal feel calm and joyous. It is not uncommon, nay, it is the standard for Ascensians of different cultures or ethnicities to greet each other warmly with an embrace and smile. The sharing of food and drink and song is how mortals not only recount their history, but sympathize and give catharsis to their experiences. So too may the Spirit Indomitable be found in those most ancient loves, of a parent holding their newborn for the first time, a confession of love, the embrace of another, and the warmth of a fire in the darkest night. When manifested, the Spirit Indomitable appears as a colorful aura of all hues and values around the person or persons. Images of loved ones and moments of intense emotion flash like oracular visions. A sound like raging screams, anguished cries, joyous laughter, and unbreakable triumph erupts from the air at the command of the mortal. Strength flows from the veins of the person, unlike any other, to do what must be done in a way no immortal could bestow. This is the power which has given people the ability to lift things many times their weight to save another, or to run through fire and emerge unscathed to slay the horror before them, against the cold indifference of a quiet, unfeeling universe. The Spirit Indomitable is a raging fire. Now hearken these words which have been spoken by one whom is victorious or one whom is slain, one who was loved and one who loved. Hearken to this, the words first spoken and the words spoken last. I am mortal, breaker of the wilds and beasts, slayer of mortal and ancient elder. I am loved, and I loved, since the time when mortals first walked upon this realm, to the day we stand, hand in hand, atop the glory of our reforged world. And now I shall tell you the lore of venturers and conquest. Since humanity first stepped upon the planets that would form Ascenscia, it was beset by things of ferocious, uncaring natures and endless expanses of untamed wilderness. Brave persons struck forth to fell tree, till field, hew stone, and slay beast. In the aftermath of the rifting, the need for these brave souls is imperative to humanity's survival. Venturers are these brave souls. A venturer is a person of any kind who wishes to go into the places where many fear to tread. They are the intrepid explorers, monster hunters, relic seekers, and ambitious scholars born from the crucible of Ascenscia's hardships. In every direction one can travel, the presence of a venturer is revered and dreaded all the same, for they are adorned in more scars and trophies than the average Ascensian, and carry with them a madness all their own. All hold fear and anguish in their hearts, but a venturer takes hold of such things and wields it like a stone to crack the skull of their terror until naught but viscera remains. Though welcomed with open arms, a venturer is only hired or comes through on the way to deal with a threat that no local governance could handle with levies. The life of a venturer is harder than any other. They go into the wilds of the world and even into the immortal realms to face dementing foes without any resupply or connection to settlements. Food and water is only what one can carry on themselves, a hired hand, a beast of burden, or whatever may be gathered from the wilds. Camps are sparse and as rough as the terrain itself. Rain, snow, heat, and magic whip roughly against their gear-laden bodies without recourse. At any point, an animal may rush from the shadows and attack, for when far from settlements, mortals are always considered prey. Wounds of the flesh must be treated on the spot, since a trip to a healer is far and treacherous. From every venturer that returns to a settled land with riches and fame, there are two more whose corpses are mangled from battling the elements. Worse still are the many existential horrors that drive venturers to madness. Horrifying dreams fill their minds as the memories of what they have bore witness to scrapes away sensibility in the lonesome wilds. Immortals confined to the deepest darkness harass parties with depraved temptations and straying whispers. Venturers are at the forefront of human survival. In the earliest days, venturers would share their knowledge of the wilds between bands of nomads until every group would know how to survive in the wilds. Now Ascenscia is a planet rife with ever-shifting horrors. Wisdom passed from ages became useless. Venturers once again found themselves battling nature like the storm that gathers near, and sharing their lore with others so that a new generation may be born and grow safely. Storm gods gather ahead. Ancient elders of lightning cackle. I shall continue this quickly before they come, for on Ascenscia weather is never just weather. Now, as I was saying, where a venturer travels, they bring tales of their deeds, foreign things from the cultures they've met, and trophies, without knowing if they offer the knowledge of how to survive another day, and should a day come when they are not there, from the masses shall come bands with the will to fight and charge beyond what their kin would do. Without venturers, hunters and foragers would not know what to do with animals they would only have heard about in firelit warnings. Without venturers, the pastoralist and agriculturalist would not have calm lands to raise food, nor the miner and forester safety when carving out their trade. Venturers hack and hew and mend that which was once wild into a mortal's domain, connecting disparate settlements and peoples lost during the rifting and the downfall of humanity's dominion. For every foot that humans have built upon, there are 100 more claimed by the fecund wilds. And for every step gained, half a step is taken back. That is, if the defenders are stalwart. For this reason, beleaguered venturers rarely station themselves in one area unless the threat requires a company. When bands of venturers assemble into a company, the immortals quake in fear at what can be accomplished. The earth of the ravenous is tamed by the blade of the resolute. Hardened venturers bedecked in every trophy and fetish stride atop fierce mounts ahead at an army of servants, soldiers, mercenary, mancers, zealots, musicians, and preachers, followed by winding supply columns as far as the horizon. The earth shakes under the footfalls of warriors ready for battle. Like an army, they advance into the thickest frays. The mustering of a venturing army is rare and harder than conjuring any army aligned to a high lord. But it is truly an impressive sight from what I have beheld in my time venturing myself. Never a day goes by when mortals are at risk of losing all they had built for generations. But the day when the last fire of humanity is snuffed out is the day when the Spirit Indomitable is dead. The day the last venturer dies. Now hearken once more to these words that have been spoken by those first and last, those loved and who may or may not still be here, venturing in the wilds, or resting the horrors of what they have beheld, still clawing away even as they are held by those that they care for. The wheel of life turns, its axle greased by the sacrificed blood of martyrs great and small, young and old. I am the child of dead parents, supped on the earth's apathetic teeth, and drank of the wild's bitter teat. I too shall die, so my blood may let the wheel turn for my kin, and they in turn for their kind, until the day when mortals end their journey. I am a venturer. I am conquest and vengeance, as I am hope and catharsis. Now, dearest comrades, thank you all for listening. I must depart, for the storm gathers ahead. Lightning cackles in the sky, waiting to burst. The tears of the heavens ready to break. I must depart now. I thank you for having me, and I thank you for listening. Once again, I have been Barb. Thank you all, and remember that forevermore shall the Spirit Indomitable survive. May chaos reign.
Hail and well met, 'tis I, Bard, pronouns they, them, and she, her, thanking you all for listening to this episode of Mortality, Tales of Ascenscia, a podcast that is set within the created, fantastical world of Ascenscia, a planet beset on all sides by mutative magic, chaos, and, of course, beasts, gods, and wilds that actively seek to exploit or destroy humanity for all it has, whilst humanity itself endures only barely through wild defiance and the Spirit Indomitable. This podcast, Ascenscia, and all characters within, as well as all monsters and so on and so forth, within are owned by me, Bard. Woo! Any and all art that is featured within this episode is owned by me as well. If you'd like to get a print of the art, please contact me on Instagram at Bard of the Mad Realm. Thank you all for listening once again. I hope you have a glorious day, and may chaos reign. Bye-bye.